Welcome to 5 Go Sailing. In this episode, Hugh gets into a spot of bother while trying to pick up a mooring buoy. We go seal spotting and we find a deserted beach. This dinghy is basically our family car now. We had an errand to run, but on the way we spied a seal.
There, I see him.
There he is.
There.
He is large.
When you have nowhere you have to be, you can spend 40 minutes bobbing around watching a seal.
Don't get too close, otherwise you'll scare him. I'll tell you when to stop.
Where is he?
Oh, I just went under.
Am I going the right way then?
Off on our errand. Hugh had found a dinghy anchor for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and it was in Torquay. The kids and I frolicked in the park while Hugh had a lovely 10k run, half of which he did whilst carrying an anchor. You'll see the anchor in action later.
What did you see, Tails?
Dolphin.
Where are they?
The next day, we left Anstey's Cove. We saw dolphins. We were heading to Exmouth to escape the winds which were due to change direction.
So it's a change of wind direction. In a couple of hours' time, the wind's going to start coming from the north, and that anchorage is exposed from the north. So that's why we're moving, isn't it? Tilly's driving today. We've got about an hour and a half passage, and it's perfect conditions, nice and flat, isn't it? And she's got a very easy target. We've put a waypoint on the screen as well, because we're following Dom and Carly. She's basically just aiming for their boat, which is about a mile in front. So it's quite, like, for her, that's brilliant. She's got a real clear target to follow, and you're doing really well. And Tilly wants to drive the whole passage non-stop, which means I have to do this. It's also breakfast time.
I guess we go around.
It's like she's a baby again.
Tilly wanted to hand steer the entire journey, and even when the rain set in, she carried on undeterred. We arrived, said farewell to Cadoa, and we went to pick up a mooring buoy. Anyone who has followed our entire story will know that we don't have a very good track record when picking up buoys. Esperance has a really high bow and high sides, which makes it really hard to try and reach down and grab the buoy. It's also really hard to lasso it. I literally can't reach it. My arms are not strong enough.
Okay, fine. But what are you going to do?
I thought I could try and use the boat hook. We have lost boat hooks, torches and deck brushes, all in our thwarted attempts. I am not long enough.
Stop. I am. Give me the rope. Help it.
But Hugh had a new idea. What could possibly go wrong? Tilly took over camera duty as I had to jump on the helm.
Careful, Dad. Daddy. Dad.
We eventually caught it and tied up. This highlights the need for one of those really fancy buoy-catching hooks, although that's probably just another thing that we'll lose in the ocean. We had a debrief, which just involved watching back the footage and laughing at our own stupidity.
Tilly was so worried. Yeah, that's not ideal. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an action shot. It's as intense as it gets aboard Esperance. Those don't need washing. I am putting on a wash, and I've just read up, debating. You guys might be able to help and answer this. Which uses less water? Eco mode or like a 15 or 30 minute wash cycle? I know which one uses less energy, but I want to know water, because we've got loads of energy, but water is a finite resource aboard.
Oh my word!
Whoa.
The next day, we noticed that some seals had taken up residence on the beach opposite, so we jumped in the dinghy to take a closer look.
We're going on seal hunt part 2.
We're going on a seal hunt. Tilly's got her camera.
Going on a seal hunt.
Tilly's got her camera.
This time, we were determined to get some footage to show you. Check out this picture.
We're going to get a huge amount close on this.
We respectfully kept our distance, but then a tall boat hurtled past us extremely close to them, so we took that as permission to get a little closer ourselves. Thanks to our new anchor, we stayed put and we watched them until the beach was swallowed up and the seals were forced back into the sea. My parents FaceTimed us just at the right time and they got to see the action for themselves. They've gone! Coolest jellyfish ever.
No, it's not. I've seen way better ones. I've seen these really cool ones in France. They're like, so they're like that. They have like a bubble on the head and tentacles, and then there's like pink stuff inside the bubble. Calvin and me saw them in France. They were just going past the boat, so we were sailing, and they were just going like that. There was loads of them. I'd say about 10 or 15.
Back to the boat for dinner, story and bed. The next day, we went off for an explore in the dinghy. In the middle of the River Exe is a sandbank, which at low tide is not only a wonderful place for seals to wallow, but because you can only access it by boat, it becomes a private desert island.
I think I have some shells.
There's a man hopping round somewhere with just one shoe on. Remember last week when Cadoa lent us their water maker? Well, this week we were able to return the favour by providing a spare part for their broken Torpedo dinghy engine. The main reason for coming to Exmouth was needing somewhere safe to leave the boat for the weekend, as we had to go back to the Midlands. We've been travelling back to the Midlands every weekend for the past 2 years, but now that we've actually cast off, it gets harder and harder to go back, as it's almost like we're living two lives, and we really just want to get on with the adventure now.
We are leaving again for the weekend because we have a family member's funeral and we've also got gigs this weekend. But it's been 2 weeks without having to do this, and just packing everything up again to go away. It's just a hassle.
You just said, didn't you? You said, I hate packing up again. And like, that's all we've done for ever. We've had this amazing weekend, a bit like a holiday, but the thing is, we can sustain this and turn it into our lifestyle. So it doesn't have to be a holiday, it has to be just how we live our life. It's all good. Yeah?
It's all good.
It's all good. Don't you stress.
But there's always an adventure to be had. Travelling by water taxi. Bye-bye, Esperance. Then catching a train to Bristol.
I didn't realise when you're moving really fast, close things can move faster than far away things.
Dry mango, but it's not quite dry. It's like soft mango. It's quite good.
Where my brother was waiting to chauffeur us back to Warwick.
We're just back at my mum's house and it's just a bit strange.
Well, we got massive sea legs.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm totally sway. I can see why when they sing sea shanties they all sway. Well, that feels better. Yeah, and like my niece was, she was just filling up a bubbles pot with water, and she like she opened the tap, and then she like took ages unscrewing the lid, and I was like got really uncomfortable with the fact she just left the tap running and there was nothing how she wasn't using the water. It's like, again, just like getting used to, we don't need to be
I feel really strange coming back here, and it's like we've only been away, we just counted it, I've worked it out, 9 days.
Yeah.
But it's been a really intense 9 days, like our whole life's just turned upside down. We've just gone from an amazing 9 days. It's like we just stepped into a different world. It's like
Yeah,
come back
it
and
is.
nothing's changed. But it feels like we could have been away for 2 years.
It's literally two different worlds, isn't it? It's like we've like stepped across a portal into a different.
Oh, it's that Stargate film, remember that?
Yeah, it is, but it is, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, it is like that.
Everything is different. Everything. Let's go to bed.
On the Thursday, we had a family funeral to attend. I see funerals as a time to share memories of the deceased, say goodbye, and get the ultimate enjoyment of spending time with all your family together in one place. We were back in the Midlands to work. We had 5 gigs between us. However, this weekend was also Warwick Folk Festival, and my parents got us some tickets. A big part of my childhood was being taken to folk festivals, so it was so nice to share this with my own kids. Firstly, in the form of a fantastic pub session. And then to the festival itself. We watched my parents perform. Don't ask. Picked veg in my mum's garden. We went and met our friend's new dog. And we went on a trip to the National Trust with Hugh's parents. We certainly packed a lot in. No wonder we were tired. We had such a lovely weekend, and it was really hard to say goodbye. But adventure is calling, and we need to answer.